You know that feeling, right? Your thumb is just hovering over an app and you haven't even really decided to open it yet. It's almost like a reflex. Well, today we're going to dig into the invisible script our brain is running that leads to that very moment. And, more importantly, a super simple way you can start rewriting it. So it all kind of boils down to this one pretty provocative idea. Your brain lies to you all day. I mean, that sounds a little extreme, doesn't it? But it perfectly captures the little deceptions, the little tricks our mind plays on us to keep us hooked. And those lies, they can sound a lot like this. Just a sudden thought that pops into your head, feeling less like a suggestion and more like a command. Or maybe it's that little pang of anxiety. That nagging feeling that something super important is happening right now and you're not there for it. And then there's the classic, maybe the biggest lie of them all, the one we tell ourselves every single time. So, does any of this sound familiar? Because if it does, it's because these aren't just random thoughts. Nope, they're actually a very specific psychological thing. Okay, so let's break down what's really going on up there. What we're talking about here are called automatic thoughts. Think of them like this. They're the instant, totally unfiltered thoughts that just flash through your mind. They're that little voice whispering, hey, you're bored, or you should probably check your email again. And that thought is what directly triggers the physical urge to actually pick up your phone. And here's the trap, right? We treat these thoughts as if they're absolute facts, like they're commands we have to obey. But they're not. They're just suggestions. That's it. They're just little fleeting ideas from your brain. And the key, the real game changer, is realizing that you don't have to obey them. You can just look at them. So, okay, if these are just suggestions, what do we do about them? How do we handle them? Well, there's a really simple but incredibly powerful method that comes from cognitive behavioral therapy. You might know it as CBT. And it all boils down to just 3 little steps: notice, catch, and question. So here's how it works. First, you notice that physical feeling, right? That little itch in your thumb to start scrolling. Then, step 2, you catch the thought that happened right before that urge. What was the little mental story you just told yourself? And then step 3, and this is the most important part, you just question it. You're not trying to fight it or wrestle it to the ground. You're just getting curious. You're becoming a detective. All right, so what does this actually sound like in your head? Let's walk through a really common example. Okay, so the automatic thought comes in, that classic FOMO feeling. I'm missing out on something. And it feels huge and important, right? But instead of just believing it, you challenge it with a simple question. Am I, though? What am I actually missing out on right this second? See, that one little question cuts right through the noise. It immediately puts you back in the driver's seat. And look, you can build a whole toolkit of these little questions. Things like, okay, what will actually happen if I don't check my phone right now? Or, wait, is scrolling really a break or is it just going to make me feel more tired? And maybe the most powerful one of all is, what evidence do I actually have that this thought is true? Because you know what? Most of the time, the answer is basically none. And this all leads us to the final and, honestly, the most powerful part of this whole idea. We're talking about what happens when you start doing this all the time. Because you're not just fighting off urges one by one. You're actually changing your whole relationship with them. And what's so wild is that these thoughts, these things that feel so solid and so urgent, they're usually as fragile as a house of cards. Seriously, they just can't hold up to even a little bit of curious questioning. The second you shine a light on them, they start to fall apart. And really, this is the core idea right here. This isn't about willpower. It's not about gritting your teeth and white-knuckling your way through an urge. We've all tried that, and let's be honest, it's exhausting and it doesn't really work. No, this is a totally different approach. You're not fighting the urge, you are dissolving it with logic. It's a really simple chain reaction when you think about it. The thought is what creates the urge. So when you question the thought disappears. And when the thought disappears, the urge just weakens. It fades away. You're not just fighting the symptom anymore. You're getting right to the root of the problem. So where does that leave us? Well, the next time you feel that little pull, that little tug towards your screen, you've got a new tool in your back pocket. You know what to do. So the only question left for you is, what's the first lie you're going to question?